Good.
You are muted, boy.
Nobody can hear you, bro. No, we can't.
Yo, brother, we can't hear you.
What kind of book set? He even knocked the thing out.
Go on, Dave. You take over.
Look at him.
Welcome to the NSO. Welcome to the NSO. Saturday morning. You know what we do. You know how we do. I think that intro was probably the best way to summarize our transfer strategy so far.
I'm back.
That is the ever dulcet tones of our good brother Tobes. We've also got brother Sai, brother Yao, brother Tops in the building. I'm going to go around one by one. Tobes, now that you've got everything sorted, even though, yes, you are the most experienced person on the lineup, but this is just to keep you humble. This is keep you humble because man's been in South Africa, man's been in Zimbabwe, man's been in Dubai, man's been in Detroit. I'm just picking anyway. Keep you humble. How you doing? How you doing, buddy? You good?
I'm good, bro. I'm good. I'm excited to record this, man. I feel like this is the first time I've been on a 5-man panel in a long time. So it's good. It's good to see that my brethren are here early to talk football.
Yeah. I was wondering how you're gonna say that. 5-man panel. Well done.
Can we stop? Free yourselves of pause culture. Just stop.
You're doing a madness.
Stop.
You're doing a madness, bro.
Not everything has to be paused. Yeah, please.
I didn't say anything. Tops, over to you, bro. Like, how you doing, man? You looking? You got is that the NBA jersey on? You done?
No, this is actually Australian basketball jersey from when I was out there. But yeah, I'm good, man. I'm good. I'm low. This Eze thing has got me, man. But I'm good, man. I'm here. I'm surviving, waiting for us to hear something, anything, even just a little. I should need a little something just to get me over the line right now. But I'm good, man. I can't complain, man.
Yeah. Tops is out there looking for the breadcrumbs. Sai, how are you?
I'm doing well, man. I thought after seeing my brother Ohio make back-to-back appearances, I thought, hey, listen, it might be time for a return. Still, new season, a bit more free time. So yeah, I'm here to chop it up with the gang. Gang.
Man. Good to have you here.
And
good to have you here. Oh gosh. Yao, finally, how you doing, my Ghanaian brother?
I hate this club. We're back here again. Listen, this is I can't even say the words I was gonna say because I don't want to get cancelled, didn't it? But this is a horrible relationship. Like, it's bad, bruv. Like, they do this to us every single summer. So as on a personal note, life is good. I can't complain. Healthy and all of that kind of stuff. Blessing. Children are doing well. But this club is going to make me turn into a very horrible human being.
Guys, we're going to get into it straight away. We're not going to bury the lead. The main thing that we want to discuss is obviously the transfer situation. Listen, you guys know my position in the group chat. I've been talking all about July, first week of July, and the first day of July being the new financial year, especially for the Premier League. That's how they kind of set things up. So just before that, we started hearing talks about us linked with Mohamed Kudus, a West Ham player. We don't usually buy from West Ham. I think it's been about 15 years or so. There's talks about unofficial ban between the clubs due to bad relations. Think about London Stadium. Think about Daniel Levy just not liking people anyway, and people not liking him, especially in the London football scene. So, listen, do we think Kudus is a good fit at Spurs? Is it a signing that you would be happy with? Sai, I want to go to you because I think Tops is probably still in mourning. So we're going to give him a few more moments.
Before we start, Dave, I just wanted to I wanted to shout out Jota and Andre Silva as well, man. What happened this week? Travesty. literally at the time of recording, his funeral, so the funeral for Jota and Andre Silva is taking place now in, I think it's Gondomar or Gondom, I can't remember, somewhere in Portugal. So blessings and strength and love to his mum, his wife, his kids, and everyone surrounded with that family, man, because that was a truly, truly shocking incident. It's weird because when you watch football, you become attached to players, and because you follow their careers basically from young up till like present day, like there's literally an emotional attachment there. And I don't know Jota, but I'm watching him most weeks of the year. And it's like when someone dies so young and so unexpectedly as well, it really, really is a shock to the system. So again, wishing that family all the strength in the world, because that's a horrible situation to have to navigate in, man. It's horrible.
Yeah, no, definitely. And our love and prayers from the NSO go out not only to our Coppin brothers, but the whole Liverpool family, and definitely the family of Diogo Jota at this incredibly difficult time. Thanks for that, Tobes. Yeah, well done for bringing that in.
No probs.
Brilliant. Sai, I wanted to go to you about Kudus. What's your thoughts, man? Does he fit in? Is it a signing you'll be happy with?
I think this might be one of those signings where it flatters to deceive in both directions. Because if I'm looking at the compilation of our squad, it does look like a bit of an odd fit, if I'm being totally honest. From a profile standpoint, I don't know that anything outside of his 1v1 ability really adds anything crazy to the team. And it also makes me believe that like potentially there's going to be a bit of a shuffle in terms of other players' primary positions or even his. So immediately we look at that right-hand side and we know that we have Kulusevski, Brennan Johnson, Wilson Odobert. Odobert is probably the best 1v1 player of the three, and is obviously new to the team, but has had some moments already in the Spurs shirt that give you an indication that he could potentially be mustard. Brennan Johnson, club top scorer last year, not very much of a ball player in any capacity, literally one trick pony if ever there was one. And then Kulusevski is probably the closest fit in terms of profile to Kudus outside of the 1v1 ability, and outperforms him on a season-by-season basis. So for me, it's a bit of a strange signing. It does make me believe that maybe Kulusevski's future lays as the number one choice behind the striker. Maybe controversially, maybe not for anyone with eyes, and anyone that knows Thomas Frank's preferences. So yeah, for the money that's being touted, I don't feel like it's a needle mover in any capacity. Like I really don't, and I'll take some convincing to think otherwise.
What's the money that's been touted?
Sorry. Yeah. Before Guy has set out his stall from early in that take. I don't think you look the strays.
Bro, once he heard Kulusevski
at the squad, at James Madison,
Oh yeah.
at Ange, at
You know what? Let me make something very clear here.
oh my gosh.
I know everybody knows me and Sai as the outsiders, Kevin Nash, Scott Hall. If you go by history and how the Wolfpack was formed, Scott Hall turns on Kevin Nash. That's not gonna happen right here. I'm just letting you know. That little shot at Madeline, I'm with that shot, bruv. Because
I'm saying Madeline cannot be seen in a number 10 this season as a primary starter.
Jesus.
Disappearing act.
Listen,
Wow.
all I'm going to say is this. If the yeah, money. If the money touted for Kudus is around 85, then I agree. I don't think any of the talent. No,
I don't think it's going to be to 85 though.
No, I don't.
It's not.
I don't. But I don't think any of the players that we've been looking at or trying to go after, I don't think any of them should be. What's our club record right now? 65, 63?
65.
I don't think any of them should be above that. Like, and I'm not saying that whether I think they're better than Solanke or not. I just don't think we should be spending over 65 million for any of the targets that we're going for, because I think a lot of them, including Kudus, they can bring something to the squad, but none that I've heard so far, even in Buemo, I don't think any of them are needle movers. Like, I don't think any of them like, oh yeah, he's the guy that's the one that's gonna take us right back up to where. None of them are. Not saying that I think they're rubbish, but I'm like, they were saying, oh, go and get Semenyo, 75 for Semenyo. Let's be blood fire guided here. Let's be seriously guided here. Like, no, Kudus' profile, yeah, funnily enough, Kudus and Kulu's profile are very similar. Like, not far off. I prefer Kudus shooting wise. His accuracy is horrid, but I don't know what Kulu's problem is. He just can't generate enough power in his shots. I've been saying this forever. Like,
yeah, he still outscored him and still hit the target more. So it's
but hitting the target is fine. But my problem is, like, I don't understand when he gets onto his left and it's open sesame for the rappage, and man's like, here, goalie, get one of your stats up. I'm like, what? Bruv, like, you had whipping excursion and you don't want to flip and drop no albums. No, I ain't got time for it. But in saying that, Kudus could be in that position and send that back to Accra. So you win and you lose. Like, that's the problem we have here. If the money for Kudus is like, I don't know, 60, 65, yeah, bring him. But that's not enough. Like, we need like 2 or 3, sounds crazy to say this, 2 or 3 £60 million signings in this squad, because people need to fear their position. And I know people are going to be like, Johnson was top goal scorer. Listen, Toby can do 5 kick-ups. They don't look good. Like, just make of that what you want. Yeah. Make of that what you want. Yeah.
He's spot on. He's absolutely spot on. He's spot on. He's spot on. That is the perfect analogy. It's perfect. Like, tell that to our fan base. Tell that to our fan base. But I've heard what you man have said, and I actually do agree that none of these players are. In fact, I don't agree. I think the majority of these players are good players, but I don't think like the majority of them are gonna basically propel Tottenham from like here to here, right? With the exception of maybe one. But I also think that even if I bring that one into the factor, Eze, who I think is going to go to Arsenal and probably isn't in the picture for Tottenham anymore, right? I still think that because of the work we need to do to our squad, to your point, Yao, one isn't enough. Even if we signed a baller, let's say we signed a Rodrigo, or we signed a Gula, or we signed one of these otherworldly talented players, we still need more. But if I bring it back to Kudus, right? Yes, him and Kulusevski are similar, but then if we're looking at the manager that we're working with now and how he used Mbeumo, okay, cool. Mbeumo is more of an inside forward in comparison to those players. But in my eyes, I see that as viable competition on the right-hand side. Now, we don't know what happens with Brennan Johnson. It could be Brennan Johnson and Kudus if he was to sign on the right. It could be Kudus and Kulusevski, or it could be Maddison and Kulusevski in the 10. But again, I want to hit home on one of the points Yao said. It's competition. It is competition, and it's competition to the point where you're taking someone who's starting at a Premier League club and you're saying to him, come and compete for a place at our club. I don't look at the Kudus signing as someone who's coming in and he's instantly walking into our first 11. I don't buy that, right? He's coming off the back of his worst season in a West Ham shirt, and he's coming into a team where, in all honesty, the expectation's higher. If you have a season like you did last year, you're getting battered way more so than you did at West Ham. I'm looking at it as you're coming into the team. What is he? 25 years old, 25, maybe going 26 years old. You're coming into this. You're coming into this team to compete, and you're bringing in qualities that we don't have. Right? Yes, he's frustrating. Yes, the end product is janky, etc., etc. But he has a unique skill that, in all honesty, I don't think any of our players have to the level that he has. Sai made a good point. Odegaard, the dribbling, the 1v1. He's the best out of all of them, in my opinion, right now, when you look at our squad at taking the ball from standing position and going at your man. But I can look at Kudus in the game against us where they lost 4-1. He caused us all sorts of problems in the first half. He literally picked the ball from any position and he's just killing, man. He's literally deleting, man. Like, and he's so strong, you can't really knock him off the ball. You would hope that with what we've done to get someone like a Thomas Frank into the club, with a manager who's had in my opinion, a proven track record of actually improving the attackers that he's worked with, all different variations of attackers. He's had poachers like Wissa, he's had inside forwards like Mbuemo, he's had number 10s like Damsgaard, he's had target men like Ivan Toney, he's had inside forwards like Sharda. He's had a variation of attackers and he's been able to make it work. So if Kudus is the guy that they're going to give us, go and get him. Go and get him. I don't think 60 million is that bad a price. You could argue Kudus is worth less. He's coming off the back of his worst season. You could. Maybe we're paying too much. But in the end of the day, we're paying on talent to come and make the squad better. And I think, for me, that's the most important thing, making the squad competitive. If Kulusevski is not on his game, Kudus is there to take his shirt. The same way, if Kudus isn't on his game, Johnson is there to take his shirt or whatever. For me, that's how you make a squad better. And if the club say Kudus is their man, just go get him. No lay-lating. Go get him and move on to the next signing. West Ham are looking to do a deal for 60 to 65 million. Go get him. We missed out on Eze, right? We've missed out on Mbuemo. I wouldn't say we missed out on Mbuemo. Mbuemo knocked us back. He said he wants to go to United. Calm. We know that we haven't got a plethora of options in the right wing, but there are some good players out there. Go get a good player to come and join the squad, and then go get some more good players. That's all I care about.
Yeah, it's always been about squad depth, hasn't it? To be able to compete on multiple fronts, which we haven't been able to do for the best part of the past 5-6 years. If we're keeping it a buck, we tend to run out of steam. Shout out to the 334 people locked in across both YouTube and X. If you can give us, if you are not X, give us a retweet, drop a comment or likes, whatever the case may be. If you're on YouTube, you can obviously interact with us, and we will do our best to put your comment up and react to it in due course. It's interesting. You said 60 mil. I don't mind spending 60 mil just because that won't be a record signing. And there's been a bit of a curse on our record signings going all the way back. Look at Davison Sanchez. Oh, good Lord. And Ndombele. Good Lord. And then you can even look at, I know Jackie is going to love this one. Even Solanke of late hasn't quite proved it yet.
Okay.
Yet.
Like
that one's for you, Jack. That one's for you.
Velocity bow and arrow in the world as well.
That one's for you, Jack. That one's for you.
Solanke shoots his bow, it hits a tree. It hits a tree. It doesn't even hit his man.
It hits the floor in front of him, bro. That guy is shooting blanks, bro. He's shooting them sticky, them sticky arrows that the kids play with.
I think who was it before Sanchez? It was Lamela, I think, before Sanchez.
Lamela was, yeah.
Like, literally, if you look back, all our quote-unquote club record signings have been whack or just disappointed in some way.
Yeah.
So, listen, I mean, Lo Celso as well. Lo Celso was at one point with 56 mil, whatever.
Yeah.
Like, we just don't do well when we actually, like, whoever's the highest, it's not a good run. So, listen, if we keep it underneath that little banner, I don't mind. Tops, I'm going to come to you on this one. Obviously, Kudus, we talked about whether he fits in the team. We talked about squad depth, etc. My question is, Chelsea. You know what they're like.
Yeah,
they can do.
It's a funny one.
Hours, man. Are they gonna?
I'm trying to I don't know. Chelsea, their squad building, their whole model is a bit of a mess, to be honest with you. So I'm trying to understand why they would try and sign him. I feel like we are in the driving seat. We've definitely put in an offer.
More technicals. More
man
technicals.
is a piggy
You
today.
man,
More
are using
technicals.
Leica today, innit?
The
Bro.
I said like a mobile, you know.
He is, bro,
Rejected it. 65.
he's been talking this whole time.
No,
Oh,
we're gonna do the sensible thing. We're gonna do the sensible
on,
thing and remove him, put him backstage until he sorts his
Bro.
setup out. Yeah. But
He's got that talk,
Yeah,
bro.
listen,
bro.
Chelsea's
Jesus.
one of the ones, isn't it? Let's be honest. Like Chelsea, they sleep in it. They look at everyone else's homework. Yeah. They wait for you to walk in class. Like, yo, did you do your English essay? Yeah, I did it still. Yeah. Oh, cool. What about you? Yeah, I done mine. And as soon as you leave your bag on the desk, they're just rifling through your papers. I mean, not that happens at my school that I work at, but you know, it's one of them things that you know you have to live with. And again, Chelsea said, I don't understand their model, but do they need backup for Cole Palmer? He scored 2 goals in the past 28 games or whatever. One at 2 o'clock this morning. Do you know what I mean? In the game they played against Palmeiras last night. So do they need competition for him?
they do.
That would make sense to me. So actually, this signing, in my estimation, probably would make sense in terms of direct competition for some sort of playmaker who can carry the ball up the pitch, you know, and give them that attacking threat either through the middle and play off the wings, that kind of thing. You know, they kind of, you know, Maresca tends to kind of move things around with their formation. Well, I don't see why not. What we do have is we do have a few days. I think Chelsea have got some issue with UEFA. They've got to sort out next week, which hopefully gives us a little bit of a window. So I'm thinking if we're gonna sort this out this weekend, you know, we're gonna have to make sure this final bid or you know our best bid goes in over the next day or two to make sure we can keep Chelsea off because, like I said, they do need competition for Cole Palmer. I don't think naturally in their team, just looking through it, you know, top of my head, I don't think they've got any natural competition for him. So yeah, it's just you just got to move quick, man.
We do.
Not what we usually do.
We do. But the deal sort of makes sense, but then at the same time, when you look at the way they've bought, it's like you're just stockpiling, right? They bought Esteval, who's someone they want to fast track into the team maybe in the next 6 to 12 months. Then they've got that Quenda youth from Sporting Lisbon, I think. He's coming in like 26, 27. They both play right wing, and they've got Pedro Neto. So in my eyes, that's 3 right wing options. They've got Gittins on the left. They've got Madueke, who looks like he might be sold. They've got Palmer, obviously. And then they've still got some of the want-aways that they have to sell. They've got, and they've signed João Pedro. And I've been told João Pedro is one who's going to also compete with Cole Palmer through the middle as well as play off the left. So it's like, okay, yeah, there's a use case for signing Kudus, but it's like, which team is he actually going to get a higher chance of playing more games, right? We're both in the Champions League. He doesn't really have to move location because he's gonna be in London still. So for me, it's a case of, are you choosing name and clout and strength and stature of the club? You're probably gonna go Chelsea, or are you choosing a squad that maybe isn't as good as Chelsea's, but I would say a squad that's probably a bit more settled in terms of his role. Like I think it's quite clear where he would play for Tottenham in my eyes. So I don't know, man.
Can I give you some bad news?
Go on.
You ready?
Yeah.
He's a thoroughbred Ghanaian, born and raised
he's a glory hunter
in Accra. Yeah, and if I don't know if you guys realize this, but in the early 2000s, Chelsea did something very nasty.
Hey.
Did something very foul. Yeah, where they sent
Accra was Chelsea.
Listen,
FC.
Yeah. Not even Accra, Nigeria too. Nigeria and Accra.
Yeah. They sent a bunch of like Chelsea 2005, 06 shirts to the western side of Africa, and all you saw was just uncles who have never seen a Premier League game in their life say, "Oh, my favorite player is Drogba." You couldn't even describe him, uncle. How dare you? Yeah, and this is what I'm talking about. This guy is gonna hear that raw. Oh, Chelsea are in for me. Chelsea, I shall wait. Yeah, and you know why they'll wait? Because we have a chairman by the name of Daniel Levy. And I've heard rumors, and I think it's true, that we have a Tottenham tax. on our cranium because of this Daniel Levy and the way he does negotiations. So I'm saying this for another time on another pod. You fans need to do the right thing and find this guy. That's all I'm asking. Just find him. All we need to do is have a conversation. Yeah, we don't need to attack him. Just a conversation. That's all. But no, all we're gonna do is boo him because that's what our fans do. They boo and they have a banner the size of 2 rows. Amazing.
This is why I said to you that, yeah, when he came out with a statement about Premier League and Champions League, right? I said, and when the statement about Ange, I said, don't worry, don't even react. It's no point. Words are just words. He has to act. You can't put something out there so stupid and brazen, and then dilly-dally over 55 or 60 mil or 61. If he fails on these targets, then he looks like even more of a fool. Look, bruv, you can't talk about I want to win this, I want to win that, I want to win this, and then you're going to end up getting buying back what's his name, Dennis Jerkin from Sunderland, whatever. As your
I thought you were gonna
this random what's his
Japanese
name? The Japanese don, Mr. Takai.
Yeah,
Yeah.
All due respect, but like, come on, man. Like, this is what I'm saying.
I mean, that's a smart move if we're looking at marketing and stuff. So
it might be good. I'm not even gonna.
What is that?
Hey, you know what?
You should remember that. What was that guy's name? Kumalo. Kumalo.
Yeah,
The guy the South African don that never played for us, but was on the books for like
we got him from like Orlando Pirates or something, innit?
Yeah, he was
crazy.
Random,
Like we're good for those.
He did actually play in he played in a preseason game. Saw him at the stadium. My God,
in South Africa, right?
No, I wish. I wish. Yeah, no, it was here. Yeah, he came on. I'll never forget. First touch. Listen, his first touch was a setup, and it went off for a throw-in. I was like, wow. Yeah, this is a professional. Yeah, get him out of here, please. Yeah, pre-season, get him out of here. Never
listen, the people I haven't heard from Tops. I want to bring him on this next one. Tops, our attackers. Okay, we've talked about it in the group chat. Yeah, I've tried my best to put out the Tell and Odebear propaganda. Hopefully, people are seeing the vision on either flank. Sai is putting Kulusevski as our primary number 10. This is obviously assuming we're going 4-2-3-1. We only have one striker. We've got a striker and a pigeon. Call it what you want. How do you see us lining up? What's your lineup at the moment? And if we are to buy a Kudus, if we are to buy, or even if we try to do something stupid and go for like a Xavi Simons or whatever, say stupid in the sense of actually breaking our mold. Do you see us? How do you see those players lining up? Do you see it as Tel starting?
Yeah, I do. I like.
Cool, thanks.
I think. I do. I like the fact that we've kind of accepted that Son is kind of on the way out, and even if he decides to stay, whatever. But I'm looking at a lot of these players with honestly like a clean slate, because I'm just of the opinion that Ange had these guys looking crazy. He just had them looking all mad. Apart from his golden boy, Brennan, who's able to finish the season with his head held high. But outside of him, I feel like a lot of our attackers were basically, place markers in roles that didn't suit them, square pegs in round holes. And I feel like some of them, with this manager who was able to get 3 largely unknown guys to score 10 plus goals in a season in Sharda, Wissa and Mbeumo, he has a lot of players who I think have higher ceilings. I think we have a bit more freedom, and also the fact that a lot of these guys have actually been playing together. If it was up to me, I would love to be able to start someone like Kudus on the right. I agree with Sai to an extent. I don't think he's a needle mover, but I think one of the things that I think is very good about him or the two things I think are very good about him is I think he's a very tactical, versatile player. You can kind of play him anywhere across that front three, in my opinion. And the one thing I think that is massive for him is that he's a crasher. He's someone that sometimes you just need a player to get on the ball to be able to just try and win the game for the team, to be able to try and just make a difference, get a shot off, beat a couple guys. And I feel like having that kind of ability is a massive, massive thing. Even though he's kind of an unorthodox player, I wouldn't mind having him because I think there will be uses for him. I think in the games where we need to maybe pick a lock, he's the kind of guy to kind of crash it. I feel that would be good. I think Tell is going to start on the left. I feel like his confidence is building, and we've seen little bits from him, not only throughout the beginning of or the sort of latter part of the season, but also this summer as well at the Euro 21s. And I think it's going to also relieve the amount of work that Solanke has to get through. I think his game will probably look a little bit more different. I mean, obviously, I've been a big, big fan of Eze, but I don't think that's going to happen. And honestly, I do like the idea of Simmons. I think he's kind of an unknown quantity, although he's proven in the Champions League and lots of different leagues, although he didn't have an amazing season statistically at Leipzig, and Leipzig finished like 7th. They didn't finish that great this season. But again, he would be someone who I think is younger, is fresher, is largely an unknown quantity, but has a high ceiling. So someone like that would be amazing. I just don't see how players, in my opinion, when there's better technical players, and I don't see how players like Johnson and Odegaard and Moore and Son, I just don't see how these guys start. But I just feel that our attack just needs more quality. It needs more quality.
You know what the funny thing is for me, like, and I hear all those points. I'm looking at the attack, and I'm going, at one point we were 17th with a plus 12 goal difference. So to say this, I'm like, we can score goals. I'm more invested, and when we have these conversations, maybe in a future pod, I've got a list for the midfield. I got about 4 players. I was watching Rios last night, right? When I got in from I was watching Rios in the Palmeiras game last night. Like, just because that for me is more important, because we will score a goal and then they would just run through our middle like diarrhea. Like, what gone? Like, what's going on? And we're 3-1 down within 15 minutes. Right? Or you think the Brighton game, the second half of the Brighton game, let me not do it, man. I won't be depressed. So
I think that is a good point, but I do think this is where my point about coaching being the biggest part of construction of a team is going to come to the fore, because even if we look at personnel in the midfield, there wasn't really any reason to see Basuma making late runs to be on the edge of the 18-yard box in attacks. There was no reason for that, right? A more tactically astute manager instills discipline into his midfielders. And we've seen that over the course of history when Spurs have been good. There's always somebody who stands out as being pitched as quite rash or ill-disciplined, who establishes discipline and then becomes, for all intents and purposes, like a pivotal role in our midfield. We've seen it with the likes of Huddleston, Zakora, like Palacios. We've seen it with Wanyama and Dembele. Like, these guys weren't known to be your defensive midfielders, and profile-wise, none of them really were. But they were able to establish a level of discipline that offered protection for our back four and gave us a base to build attacks on. And realistically, that's all we really need, is someone to be coached into discipline to actually benefit the defensive structure of the team.
No, definitely. I'm definitely in agreement with you. Listen, Yao, Tops, you know how I approach putting the team together. It's from the midfield, like, and that structure, both going forward and defensively. That's what pissed me off the most with Ange. I can't literally, guys. I don't think it offended every bit of my fiber to watch them passages of play where it was just like open sesame. Like, I couldn't believe it, bro.
But he won the Europa League. He won the Europa League. he won the Europa League. You're literally watching, Dave, exactly what you just said there. Multiply that by 100,000, probably even 1 million fans routinely watching this team, and it was painful. The football was awful.
Yeah.
Right, these two Nigerians got better talk Wi-Fi, bro. Just
This internet. Sorry, I don't know. This internet is doing my head in. But
Just
sorry,
quick one. Shout out to the 500 people watching. Man. you lot are more committed to the internet than Toby and Chops.
Hey, Toby, man, your Cerebro machine is interfering, broski. You gotta turn it off.
You know what it is, yeah?
Man said this. The radio waves are just jumbling everything. But what I was,
did you cut off the internet as well?
What I was saying was the structure, the coaching is so important, and that's why that's why I've got such a open mind with Frank, because irrespective of what anyone can say about can he be more attacking, this is that and the third, you don't watch his teams and you're like, this doesn't make sense. It makes sense. He looks at the players he has and he plays the way that suits those players. It sounds like something so basic, but that basic thing we've been lacking for the last for how many probably 2 years now. It's 2 years, I just want a manager who just does sensible things. If we do sensible things, we at least see some of these players in a different light. But I also don't want coaching. Yes, we know he's paid to coach, but I don't want the coaching to get in the way of the fact that we do need adjustments in this team. We badly do, right?
Yeah.
Especially in the midfield. Especially the midfield and the attack, bruh. We need adjustments. We do.
You think the midfield and attack are more of an issue than the defense?
You know what? The defense is an issue, but I think if I look at the defense, you have, in my opinion, you've signed NSO, who is what it says on the tin. He's a decent third or fourth choice centre back. You've got a starting two centre backs for the time being. You've got 2 right backs, 1 left back. For me, I think we need at least 1 more left-sided defender. Ideally, someone who can cover 2 positions. I think we need 1 more. But for me, I think what's most important is actually getting that double pivot in front of the defense right. Get that right.
Completely right.
Get that right. Get another player who can play as this anchor, and then make a decision on what you want to do, whether you're bringing someone else in, whether you're playing Archie Gray differently, whether you're playing Bergvall differently. But I think that base of the midfield in front of the defense is so problematic. I would actually say that's the worst area of the pitch for Tottenham right now. If I picked our strongest lineup, I think that area, but ahead of the centre backs and behind the 10 or whatever, it's the worst area of the pitch for me for Tottenham right now.
I agree, because there's no consistency. I don't think player for player, but I think because there's no consistency and no definitive approach to it, whatever you think of that back five that played in Europa, they had a way of playing and they played together, and they definitely, had a certain synergy. They had their flaws, which better teams will expose consistently, but that back five, you can almost count on how a game is going to go when that back five are playing. I think the midfield was just all over the place. Absolutely horrendous and horrific. And then going forward, you knew what it was going to be. Back post tapping, Solanke gets missed out. Madison shuttled to the left. Kulusevski sometimes in a free roll, and that's where he thrived. Other times, ball carrier, just like they used to call it, a water carrier, back and forth, just doing shuttles. Not really taking shots, no long shots. We had no long shots really. And then Brennan Johnson, to save the day. Which, listen, he got us into the Champions League, but we need to completely review how we approach these games on all three levels: defensively, midfield, and in attack.
Yeah, I think for me, another midfielder would definitely be welcome, but I feel like we need to see either Bentancur or Bissouma leave the club in order to facilitate that. Because for me, more so than personnel, I think it's the utilization and the blend of two players. And we've seen this be an issue since Jose. Jose would play Skip and Højbjerg as a double pivot. Conte would too, and it just never really made sense to have players who can't cover the right amount of ground, or can't turn on a pivot, or are ill-disciplined in defensive scenarios to be the ones who are relied upon to protect. And for all intents and purposes, from what we've seen from Thomas Frank, he likes to have two distinctly different profiles in that pivot. One who is a bit more disciplined and one who's a bit more expansive, either through ball carrying or through passing range. So I do think there's an opportunity for Bergwijn to make that spot his own. I do think Archie Gray could potentially actually play the position that he was signed to play in. And then the other spot is up for grabs between whoever remains up, Bentancur and Bissouma. The number 10 spot, there is going to be a requirement for them to collect the ball from deeper, which both Maddison and Kulusevski have shown that they're able to do. So I'm not so much concerned about that. I do just think that we need to figure out what profiles we need, coach, and then potentially go to market for someone who can elevate that structure, as opposed to just making a decision off the bat to go and spend big money on someone who maybe doesn't move the needle at this moment in time, as we're trying to build a bit of continuity in the side. Yeah,
and the players are back in pre-season training. I think today some of them are coming back. So, Thomas Frank's going to have an opportunity in the next week to see what he likes. I don't know when they go off on tour, because what would the summer be without us going on tour to make that money? So, yeah, I don't know when they actually go. But listen, he'll have a chance to see, and then I think we'll see some movement in the next couple of weeks. But listen, that Kudus one seems like it's the one that we're pushing forward with as soon as possible, which therefore means, because we know we would never spend big twice, especially in one position of the pitch. It therefore means that reports have emerged that we have highly likely, almost with certainty, therefore missed out on or not gone for, backed off from going for Eberechi Eze. Is at this time, we would like to give the floor to our brother Tops. Booker T. To be honest, I thought I was the card-carrying member of the Eze Hive, and then Tops walked into the institution, walked up to HQ, took my mic, took my podium, and took over the movement. So I'm going to let him, as he has led the charge in the group chat online, both publicly and privately, I'm going to let him speak for a moment on his thoughts as reports have emerged that not only have we missed out, backed off, let ourselves exit the race for Eze, but also,
man, it's a frustrating one. I'll be honest with you, purely because the links, in my opinion, have been fairly concrete. We do know, for instance, a lot of his team, they have links to the guys who manage players at Spurs. We know that he obviously is London-based, and him finishing the season with Palace the way he did kind of opened up opportunities for him coming into the next point of his career. And I just looked at this guy as someone that I think would definitely move the needle for us. I think he's extremely versatile, highly technical player, highly sought after in the league, outside of, top 6 teams. And it just looks like we just haven't done enough. It looks like we've kind of, in a sort of softish way, groomed him and his team. But when it's come to actually putting a bid down, even though the release clause has come down, the release clause has not come down, but the installment have been kind of issued. It looks like it was something that was maybe there, but now it also feels like as Arsenal have now come into the picture, we have now maybe pulled away, knowing that, you know, things such as maybe the fee or maybe wages would be a stumbling block. And unfortunately, I'm disappointed. I'm disappointed because I feel like this is a player that's massively attainable. This is a player who I think really has shown over the seasons, not just from his time at Crystal Palace, but from his start of his career, he's kind of gone in a sort of upward trajectory. He's become more and more important to his team. And I feel like this point when he's 26, having just won the FA Cup for Crystal Palace, it'll be a nice moment for him to move into not only the England setup, which he's starting to do more, but also now into the Champions League. And just because of the club that we are and where we are, I was adamant that this is a move that we would be silly not to do. But it looks like as Arsenal have come into the race, and we haven't really put the fee down, or at least put the feelers out for him in a more concrete manner. We have to just kind of eat this one. A bit disappointed because I feel like in a better system, in a better system with better players, similar to Elise. Maybe not so much to Elise. I think Elise has a higher ceiling, but people will see that once this player is around better players and playing at a high level, you will see this guy flourish. You will see this guy at the highest level proving exactly what we've probably all seen. So it's a bit disappointing. On the other hand, I kind of almost feel that, like, if you were to get like a Kudus, this could be a player who maybe has a highish ceiling, and also because he's younger, maybe he could be someone that could give us more time. And also just from a tactical versatility point, and also from a player dynamics point in terms of what he can do on the pitch. And one of the things I like about Kudus as well is that he's quite efficient at high pressing, which I also think is one of the sort of characteristics of Frank's style of play, which I don't so much see. I haven't really so much seen in Eze's game under Glasner. But overall, it's just, I'm disappointed about it. I can't lie. I'll be a liar if I said, and I really hope he doesn't crash it on us. I'm just hoping he doesn't crash it on us, because if he does, it will pay me to say I told you, man. So it will pay me.
I think you said disappointing as many times as Eze scored last year. We're disappointed as many times.
I do want to pose a bit of a question though, because a lot of the discourse around Eze has been about the timing and the fact that we've been linked to him for 2 years or whatever the case may be. But asking everyone else, when was the prime time for us to get Eze? Right, because from my vantage point, if we're viewing his natural position as a number 10, we are with James Madeline for 2 years, right?
Madison.
As far as I'm concerned, Madeline or Eze would have been the conversation. Madeline or Eze would have
Madison. We can keep doing this. I'm gonna.
Nasty word.
It's one of those things where it's like it's all well and good fantasy booking what players to bring in, and I do agree with the sentiment that you bring in whatever is the best quality or best standard player that is available to you. Totally agree with that. But from a squad standpoint, we're talking about Madeline, who is vice captain of the club.
Madison,
right? Do we see Eze coming in and being first choice in that position, or playing off the left, which isn't his natural position? It's like, if we're looking at timelines, when would have been the prime time to bring him in?
If we're going on prime time, I would have said 2.5 years ago. However, it goes back to my original point of right now he's probably in his peak years, or is at his peak stage of his career. And this is the time in which you need to build a team, if you want to, according to the words of Daniel Levy, compete on all four fronts. You need to build a team that allows you to compete on all four fronts. You actually need to have some sort of you actually need to have hey,
I'll be waiting by the window with the AK. Don't get it fucked up.
Visuals are nice, yeah, but you do need to have a team that can compete and players that can compete in multiple positions. What I will say is, having taken a step back and realized the club that we're dealing with, I'm saying this now. Do not be surprised. I'm not saying it will happen, but I'm saying do not be surprised if in 2 years from now, when his contract is run out in 2027, Eze leaves Crystal Palace on a free. Because this right now is eerily reminiscent of Zaha to me. Like it's almost one for one in terms of like how Crystal Palace have set out their store. They're like, it's 68 million, that's the release clause. And clubs are like, all right, yeah, fine. You know, we'll offer 68 million. Let's just pay it over 4 or 5 years. And they're like, no, we want 50 million up front, which is no different to the nonsense they were doing with Zaha. He ended up leaving them on a free. Now people will then throw the rebuttal, but they let Eze go, Elise go. Elise went abroad. They have no problem selling people abroad. But when it's club to club in the Premier League, you couldn't name me many times in which Crystal Palace sold their best or what they consider to be one of their better valued players to another club within, you know, the Premier League. They just don't. And so, although there are links to Arsenal, from what I've seen going across, you know, Twitter and all that kind of stuff, it's 1 minute, you know, they're willing to take 20 million per, you know, summer or whatever for him. All of a sudden, it's back up to, no, we want the majority of the 68 million up front. And Arsenal are not going to do that. In fact, no club in their right mind is going to do that. So,
yeah,
don't be surprised if he doesn't.
Yeah.
Well, but one of the things as well that I think people are forgetting as well is that Palace. I'm not sure if you recently, if you maybe have or haven't, but Palace have recently released some information about the redevelopment of their main stand. So they are in the market now to generate funds. They are in the market right now in the next 2 or 3 years to start regenerating and redeveloping that main stand. And in order to do that, they are going to have to start thinking about some of these high-value players, the Gahys, the Ezes, honestly, the Whartons, to be able to generate these funds, to be able to do so. And luckily, they have been able to get these players at sort of lowest sort of rates, whilst being able to still compete and even win the FA Cup with kind of like a limited squad. So I think the notion of even letting him get to the point where he maybe could be released for free 2 years down the line, or not selling him, which is why I think, in a way, they have come down on this release clause, and also they've introduced the fact that they can now bring in this installment situation, has probably led them to be like, you know what, we would rather take the money now. And that's why I feel like this is an opportunity for us to kind of make some sort of play, or Arsenal to make some sort of play on this kind, because this is, you also have to take into account as well that there's a level of, with these kind of things, you kind of want there to be a level of competition, because the minute there's no competition as well, then the team that's selling, they're not really in like the driving seat. If Tottenham come out of this race, then it's just Arsenal. Then if it's just Arsenal, then Arsenal can say, we're going to pay this. And all of a sudden now, Palace are saying, okay, we don't really want to be put over a barrel, but if this is what you're going to pay, this is what you're going to pay. And that's why I feel like the notion of us not even putting anything into that sort of ring to even try and get this kind of player, it's kind of like frustrating. But again, I don't know. This is kind of, I'm kind of beyond this at the moment.
Yeah, just like I said, I've been saying this for like the past 18 months. This is the reason why Palace have done these contracts the way they did. Steve Parish has played a blinder. They can't generate any money from, you know, if you're redeveloping a stadium, you go to your local council and go, give us X amount, you know, loan against this asset, etc., etc. I live in the area. Croydon Council have been bankrupt for about 5-6 years, right? They literally cannot finance this, but they need to make a difference to Selhurst Park. So as soon as that happened, you know, words started coming through the ranks. All the adjustments, Gahi, Elise, Eze. I wouldn't be surprised if Wharton has a similar situation with his release clause or whatever. These really bespoke type contracts to generate as much money up front for the club, with the interest of pouring it back into the stadium, you know. because that's the next phase of their development. So whether it is a Gehi, whether it is a Wharton, whether it is an Eze, whether it's all three, that's the reason why it's set up the way it is. To answer Sai's question, I think the best opportunity for us would have been last year. The moment and this is what I said when I found out some of these details about, reason why his contract was set up the way it was, I'd have been like, yeah, just do it, because he's that type of player. But I understand why clubs just don't drop 50 mil in one go. Do you know what I mean? It's not Football Manager. It's just not the way they do their finances. But at the same time, it's just like, with a player like that, could we have been more aggressive in negotiations, whatever? Where would I have played him? Where would I have played him? That's a good question. But I'll look at it and go, because we had concerns over James Maddison, even in that first end season, whether it be injury, loss of form, etc., I look at it and go, I bring him in as your other 10. Or I actually said we should be playing 4-2-3-1 anyway. So does he play as a forward? Because we didn't have Tell at the time. I don't think we had Odegaard at the time. So I'm looking at it and going, we need options in those forward positions. So this time last year, I would have done it from that perspective, okay? And then we were seeing how it progressed. And if it meant by January, Maddison's in a position where he's now looking for a new club, fair play, because we brought in a baller. You beef up the squad. Do you know what I mean?
The thing is though, I understand that from a sort of fan perspective in terms of how we would maybe manage it, but I feel like you have to be realistic to what some of these contractual commitments actually mean for a football club. If we've shelled out 40 mil for a James Maddison, made him a leader in the group, and the manager is clearly hot on him in one capacity or another, from a transfer committee standpoint, you're not going to see that position as top priority, right? So if we look at, say, the Solanke deal or Brennan Johnson deal, or even Richarlison at the point where we purchased him, there were clear, distinct holes in the squad, and that prompted us spending premium money on those positions. Even without Eze, right? We're looking at Son on the left, we're looking at Richarlison on the left, we're looking at basically Brennan as a potential option, just by sheer volume of players and the difficulty of shifting those players. The priority to make a deal for Eze wouldn't have been there, based solely on what we've seen from Spurs. My opinion on it is, if a player is available, like the Dybala deal, cool. You've got Harry Kane, you've got Eriksen, you've got Dele, you've got all of these players in similar positions, but he's available, so go out and get him. That's the only time I've ever seen Spurs act like that, and that fell through too. So I don't know, man. I just don't ever really feel like there was a use case from Tottenham Hotspur's perspective to actually go out and get Eze.
I hear it.
My problem is,
I hear it, but at the same time, I feel like there was a better opportunity this time last year. But I understand when you look at it, and now also the way brother, I don't know.
Yeah, let's not do that. Don't do that, bro.
He'd have played left wing back.
Yeah, don't do that. You got to do that. But my problem is with all of this is it boils down to one man and one man only.
Yeah, this is the last one. We'll move on after this.
His name is Daniel Levy. It boils down to this guy. Like, listen, I'm not going to let up on this. Yeah, because I'm looking at the last, let's call it the last decade. Yeah, so what? 2015 to 2025. And some of the deals we haven't got over the line, some of the players we've been linked to, and all of this jazz. And I keep thinking to myself, why is it in the last 5 years specifically have Spurs found it so difficult to shift players? And I'm like, 9 times out of 10, I'll take this panel for argument's sake. Let's say, for instance, Toby and Sire consistently do business with one another. They hate each other, but they consistently do business with one another. And then there's me, difficult old Yao. Oh, Sire, are you interested in Richardson? You're like, no, not really, but he could probably do something in our squad. All right, I'm not going to sell him for like 60, but I'll give him to you for 30. And you're like, yeah, 30 sounds good. All right, cool. We come to the negotiating table. A week later, I'm like, how about 30 with like 20% add-ons? And you're like, what are we doing here? Like, but this is not me making this up. This has been put out there by the press, by many people, that this is what Daniel Levy is like. Man will be like, yeah, all right, yeah, we've negotiated on this. We're good. Let's get the papers sorted and all that. A week later, he's like, about 20% sell on as well, you know. And this man's like 32. You'd be like, what? For Son? Are you okay, bro? Like, just let him go for cheap. Or like, I don't understand. Like, even if we look at recent transfer with Harry Kane, sold Harry Kane for what? Whatever it was, 100 million euros. Our belief was the money that was being spent in the summer was the Harry Kane money. Well, it turns out Bayern Munich are broke. So we got tell for basement value because, you know, they owed us X amount of money. And it's like, bro, we cannot keep doing this. We cannot. We are, whether people like to hear it or not, Tottenham Hotspurs. Yeah, we are not no small boy fry club. We're a big club that act like, no pun intended, Crystal Palace. Yeah, we cannot be moving like this. We cannot be moving like this. We need to be acting serious. And I'm getting frustrated with it. But in regards to Phil P's question, because I can see it, we shall riot soon. But we're not going to be rioting in Tottenham because we've already damaged the place. And plus, because we're winners, I don't want to damage, you know, the aesthetics of the fact that we're winners. We are going to be rioting in Harry Kane's new place in Germany.
Yeah.
There.
We got one more question. I'm just going to literally go around everyone and just ask for a yes or no. Not even yes or no, just a quick fire answer to the question. Rumors are coming out that Son is considering staying at the club. I know we've talked about this ad hoc, but just kind of, you know, July 5th. How's everyone feeling? I know there's 973 people watching right now. Guys, really appreciate you guys locking in to listen to us talk about all things Tottenham. So I'm just going to go around quickly. Son, sticking around, what's the thought? Are you cool with it? Do you mind? Yeah, whatever. Bless. Or would you be like, no, just go? Sorry, you up first. Quick fire.
I'm cool with it as backup to two positions, left wing, striker. You're not getting a better finisher. You're not getting a better finisher.
Yep. Chobes?
I'm the same. Swan song, let him go out. As long as the manager knows that he's not a starter in this team at this point in time, it's fine with me. Good vibes in the dressing room, and like to Sai's point, still the best finisher at our club. Just manage his minutes well. Simple.
Yeah, manage some air miles as well, man. Jeez. Tops.
Yeah, similar sentiments to the guys. Experienced head, best finisher in the club. Would like to see him play more centrally. And yeah, Mr. Tottenham after last year, man. I'm good for it.
And yeah, what you saying?
Surprisingly, I'm gonna say, yeah, but
I'm shocked by that. I'm actually shocked by that.
I'm not shocked.
But I just need him to be. This year is just mentorship year. Like, please, we don't need running up 1,000 minutes, 500 minutes. Just mentor. Come down to the schools. Tell them how you captain the team with the most horrible 15 minutes in a final. just give it that kind of thing.
No, you proper hate that cameo, man. Like, you proper keep reminding us.
No. I think that's the best. As much as it was horrible aesthetically to watch, it's the best 15 minutes from a Tottenham captain I've ever seen. Ever.
Just this question here.
No, this is crazy.
What's on Arsenal's handling of number 5? That situation. The thoughts of the is that you should lock into touchline units. They're going to be able to tell you all about it.
Hey, sure. Man, I've only got two. I've only got two words, man. I've only got two words, man. They knew. That's all I'm going to say.
As for us, we're keeping it blue and white, man.
This might actually be like my bag as well, but I'm gonna hold off for today, man.
Yeah.
Maybe I'll tweet for once.
Guys, listen, it's been great. It's been great. It's been great to chop it up. 5 of us on here on a Saturday morning. Brilliant to see the contribution from nearly 1,000 people. Locking in 995 right now as I'm getting ready to close. If you do come across your stream or come across on socials, make sure you do retweet, like, subscribe, follow, interact, challenge, big up, champion. Do all what you need to do to support what we're doing here. Trying to make some more moves over the coming season. Let's see when we do make our first signing, and hopefully a few more. To answer that question about when we're rioting, I'm sure if we come back from pre-season tour and there are no signings, yeah, we'll be there to meet Daniel Levy at the airport with a big black bag. What's in the bag, we'll find out. Guys, it's been great. We will see you on the other side. Peace.